I think it has begun, folks. I think it has begun. Another warehouse in Queens, New York is now ablaze. I think the class war has begun.
Police say this massive warehouse fire was allegedly the work of a disgruntled employee. Stunning new video appears to show the start of the fire. In the footage posted to social media, you hear someone say all you had to do was pay us enough to live, as stacks of toilet paper burn.
All you had to do was pay us enough to live. There goes your inventory.
Last night, police announced the arrest of Chamil Abdul Karim on suspicion of multiple felony arson-related charges, adding the 29-year-old is an employee of NFI Industries, a third-party distributor for Kimberly-Clark, the company known for manufacturing paper-based personal care and hygiene products.
A factory in Ontario just went up in flames, all due to a disgruntled employee. And the disgruntled employee recorded it on camera and posted it to his socials. And he just kept repeating, if you paid us enough, this wouldn't be happening. If you paid us enough, this wouldn't be happening. Now, I don't condone arson, and I am not calling for people to act out. But to these corporations, what do you expect? Do you expect people to just keep working for nothing? This guy said he couldn't even make ends meet. And this factory housed all the paper products that we use today, okay? Scott, Cottonelle. So this is a multi-billion-dollar company. And again, for those of you who are unaware, Ontario, California still is in California, one of the most expensive states in the country and in the world. So when you hear someone from California saying, I need a livable wage, they're not exaggerating. And is this an extreme way to get HR to listen to you? Absolutely. You shouldn't do it. But if I worked in a paper factory and my personal paper wasn't looking right or adding up, I could see where that might make me want to snap. I could see how someone who isn't in the right state of mind would look at all that paper and see nothing but space and opportunity up in there. That guy's bank account may not have worked, but his lighter sure did.
I hate to say it, but the warehouse worker was more effective than the No King's March, okay? Because they can't ignore that. They can't ignore that. They're gonna feel that. That hurts their bottom line. The only thing they care about.
Girl, another massive warehouse fire broke out, this time in Queens, New York. Girl, these fucking warehouse fires are gonna be happening more often. Cause I don't know, people are starting to get fed up. And I guess they caught on and caught a clue. Girl, shit is about to get litty like a titty in the US of fucking A. God damn.
Shit, old boy said, fuck it, I'm about to burn the whole warehouse down. Ain't nobody gonna have no job or be able to wipe their ass. As the employee is setting the fire on the pallets of tissue, you can hear him saying, you should have just paid us more. You know TikTok be tripping, y'all go watch the video. Pay more, bro. It's hard out here. Y'all wanna pay pennies. People tired of that shit, bro. Is he right for what he did? No. No, he didn't have to go that route. People are tired, bro. Stop paying pennies and trying to work people like dogs, bro. Motherfuckers tired of that shit, man.
Americans are in shock after a worker allegedly bent down a warehouse, a whole warehouse, people. And what's even more shocking is why this happened. Many people online are linking this to a rising cost of living crisis in the United States. Right now, millions of Americans are struggling with raising grocery prices, rent increases, and low wages. For many workers, it's becoming harder and harder just to survive. In this situation, reports say a worker reached a breaking point and set fire to a warehouse. Well, details are still developing. This story has gone viral because it highlights just how frustrated people are becoming. Some people online are calling it a crime that should be punished. Others are saying this is what happens when people feel pushed to the edge financially. This situation raises a serious question. How much pressure can people take before they snap? And is the system failing everyday workers? This isn't just about one person. It reflects a bigger issue in America right now. Raising living costs, job insecurity, and economic pressure. Let me know what you think. Was this just reckless behavior or a sign of something deeper going on in the society? So I have put together clips for you guys to watch. Let's watch the rest of the clips and then we meet in this comment section down below. And remember, if you appreciate my work, please be sure to share a super thanks. I will really appreciate. Yeah. And you can just subscribe to the channel. It's free. Let's watch the clips.
This is just a reminder on how far people are willing to go when you underpay them and overwork them.
All you had to do was pay us enough to live. All you had to do was pay us enough to... There goes your inventory.
Imagine getting paid $18 an hour in Southern California to work in this giant factory with only 20 people. He set fire to a Kimberly-Clark toilet paper warehouse, and if you think about it, each unit of toilet paper runs upwards of $15 to $20. And this happened to them allegedly because he wasn't being paid a livable wage. This is not like a small mom and pop toilet paper company. This is like a multinational, multi-billion-dollar company. Michael Su, who is the CEO of Kimberly-Clark, makes $15 million every single year. It is seriously only just a matter of time before more things like this start happening, because at this point people are getting tired and they have nothing to lose.
Listen, some people just boycott differently. Some people don't show up to work for a few weeks, some people go on a march, and some people burn their workplace down. That man said, "Pay us or I'm gonna get rid of it all." And that he did.
Should have paid us enough to fucking live. You know, we may not get paid enough to fucking live, but these bitches dirt cheap. All you had to do was pay us enough to live. All you had to do was pay us enough.
They were paying this worker about $18 to $20 an hour. That's not livable. Gas is expensive. Groceries is expensive. Literally every and anything is expensive these days. And y'all don't think that people aren't going to crack? Imagine working 40 hours plus, can't even have time for yourself, and you're only getting paid $18 an hour. And trust me, I'm not saying that he was right in what he did, but I'm saying that I see why he did it.
So apparently there was a guy who burned down like an entire warehouse worth of product or something for the company he worked for. And he like recorded it, which, okay, slay. But in the video, he was like, "And all y'all had to do was pay us a living wage." More of that. More of that, please. Do it again. And for legal reasons, this is a joke, but do it again. And like the crazy part, but also like not crazy at all, but like the main like part takeaway is that like, where's the lie? I'm not finding one. And granted, like, I don't know the entire backstory behind this guy's situation or why he did this, but I can't imagine that this was his first step. You know, like, I both can't imagine, but also, given the state of the world, very much can. Arriving at that point where you're like, there's literally no other way to get my point across. And like I said, like, where's the lie? Like, all y'all had to do was pay your workers a wage they can live on. But no. And now you lost all your product. Props to that man. Props to that man. Where's his GoFundMe?
That fire in the Kimberly-Clark warehouse was not violent. And I don't want to see the mainstream media paint this narrative that this was a violent act by a violent man with violent thoughts. No. That was an act of desperation against a violent system. What's violent is his family not having enough to eat. What's violent is his rent being more expensive than he can afford. What's violent is that he doesn't have affordability in his healthcare. He doesn't have universal healthcare. He doesn't have fucking healthcare probably, or mental care, or dental care, or vision care, because apparently my body part is separated. My mind and my eyes and all that's not connected to the shell that is me. No, that was not violence. That was protest. He destroyed product. He did not hurt a person. He did not, nobody from my knowledge got hurt. They all were evacuated, all 20 of them, for the $1 million warehouse, by the way. They were all evacuated. The only damage was to profit. And that is exactly the way a protest should be happening. The only acceptable violence to capitalism is that which they can profit from. That's why they're mad.
They are hoping that that worker burning down millions of miles of factory because they're not being paid is going to be a micro trend. It's not. It's actually what happens when you prove to people their words don't matter. When I can elect you to be a public servant and you can come out of a meeting and go la 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 when I give you my grievances. When I show you article after article of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people losing their jobs because you outsourced them to a computer that doesn't do the job better, it just saves you money. But when the cost of Netflix is up, YouTube is up, food prices are up, rent is up, gas is up. Don't be surprised when people say if it's up, then it's stuck. We're sending billions of dollars to foreign bodies that don't want to fight their own wars. But you haven't had a raise that was more than $1 in 5 to 7 years. Your car payment is almost $1,000 a month. You haven't had insurance in almost a decade. And the CEO of the company you work for's salary is $29 million, while your tax dollars pay for $1 million missiles that get launched at children. That dude throwing the Molotov at Sam Altman's house, the fire being set at that factory, this is reality coming to a head because you guys are delusional. You guys think that there's enough Netflix and enough TV to keep everyone pacified until you realize there's no pacifying being homeless, facing eviction, daily starvation. Even the slowest of us are not going to be focused on TV when we can't afford to live. These events are not blips. They're signs of things to come. This is a warning. There are no peaceful negotiations with people whose response to you is sheer violence. When you gradually create multiple generations of people with nothing to lose, decreasing jobs, decreasing wages, a decreasing ability to purchase homes, and a destabilized, unsustainable way of life, they're going to respond. Grown man, by the way. Don't believe me? Watch this. There's no threatening people with a loss of wages, a loss of employment, or a loss of high quality of life when they don't have any of those things. You're going to see this happen way more. Good.
The powers that be definitely understand that public sentiment is in favor of that worker who allegedly burned down that warehouse. They were up at their press conference today saying, this was a felony. This 29-year-old man caught a felony doing this. He burned $500 million worth of product and $200 million worth of real estate. He'll be going to jail for a long time. He'll go to jail for the misdemeanor, and then we're going to take control of it and put him in jail for the felony, the federal offense. Ooh, we're coming after him with all of these weird things that we've never done before, but we need to make sure that we prove a point so that no copycats jump out and do the same thing because public sentiment says that guy was probably allegedly in the right. There was a strong emphasis on felony, long time in jail. This was a crime. They know that people are thinking, we're not getting paid that much. We can't afford anything in general. Why are we doing any of this? One thing I know for sure, when the government and executives are afraid of the general public, we are doing something right. I do not condone the actions of this super brave man. He was really great and did all kinds of cool stuff, but don't really do that. Don't follow him. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. I'm not responsible for anything. All of this is alleged.
You know, if you're not going to pay us enough to live or afford to live, at least pay us enough not to do this. All you had to do was pay us enough to live. All you had to do was pay us enough to... There goes your inventory.
That dude burnt down the entire warehouse where he worked because he was pissed off because they weren't paying a living wage.
What firefighters once again have been dealing with out here, massive flames and heavy smoke were seen coming from the roof of the building, completely engulfing it shortly after the fire broke out this morning.
This happened in Ontario, California, and they were able to pretty quickly arrest the guy who set the entire thing on fire because, well, he posted that to his social media. The thing that I found really interesting is how many people in the comments on every post about this are either praising him or empathizing with the situation. I think it's pretty obvious that the American workforce is drowning. The cost of living is absolutely through the roof. It keeps going up and wages aren't moving. People are starting to get desperate, and it's when people get desperate that bad shit starts to happen. But what's your take on this? Let me know down in the comments.